Yard line, giving the Giants good field position. Mike Harden was there defensively for the Denver Broncos. No penalties whatsoever on the part of the Broncos in that first half. The Giants had 4 for 33. And let's take a look at the passing, the effectiveness of Sims. And he was very effective, as was John Elway, throughout the first half. Both quarterbacks having a lot of protection. The protection did collapse one time on John Elway. That caused the safety. Set to go, first down and 10. The Giants' first offensive play here in the second half. Joe Morris out to the right side. And the smallish one out to the 40-yard line. A gain of about 3 yard lines. Taken out of bounds there by Steve Foley. Joe Morris held to 35 yards in the first half by a very small Denver Bronco defense, but they use them very well, Don. They move them around very well. Joe Collier, the defensive coach, does.
They're quick. They know that they can't line up and take you on head up, so they're moving people around. Carl Mecklenburg, number 77, is the key. He's lined up in all the different defensive line positions.
Second down and 7, the ball right at the 40-yard line of the Giants. Sims back, finds the protection, nothing doing upfield, so he dumps it off to Carthen, and Carthen works it out to about the 43-yard line. It'll be third down and 4 as Bill Parcells, the Giants coach, who is now coaching in his 4th year, looks on. He's a very excitable coach. He's fun. He's a very good coach for the type of player that is coming into football today. Down there, a different player. He has a rapport with him, and a very good one.
He got my vote. We had an opportunity to vote for Coach of the Year, and Parcells was my choice.
Third down and a long 3 for the Giants. They stay on the ground. They go with Joe Morris. And Morris will be held short of the first down. Hit first by Louis Wright, who may be losing a little bit in speed on the pass coverage now in his 12th year, but he still can hit with the best of those cornerbacks.
Outstanding defense. They turned it to the inside. Louis Wright turned it to the inside. The great pursuit coming from the inside out. There's number 20, Louis Wright, turning it. And here comes the pursuit. Puts him into a situation. They're going to measure for the first down, but I don't think they made it.
Wright had him, and Dennis Smith came up and popped him and held him short of the first down by almost a yard. And the Giants down 10-9. They're close to midfield. I would not suspect at this point they would even think about doing anything with the punting game, although in the past they have had their own gadget plays off their punting game and their field goal game. In any event, they bring out Sean Landetta, the punter. Gerald Wilhite will drop to the Denver Broncos. And when you have a great punter like Landetta, I don't think you want to fool around early in a football game.
But if you're going to fool around, this is the time to do it, because they've got halfway decent field position with only about a half yard to go for the first down. And they play good defense. They might try the long count, something to draw them offside.
Jeff Rutledge is the up man, and now they move into a different formation. They could do just about anything they want off this.
It's a quarterback now under center.
They could be trying to draw them off with a 5-yard penalty, too. Landetta's a good punter. They may just wait this out and take a 5-yard penalty, trying to draw the Broncos offside. They're down to 2 seconds. Rutledge tries the quarterback sneak, and I don't know whether he got it or not. Strange play.
The offense is running back. They think that they got it.
Offense comes back out onto the field. Let's take a look at it again. They were trying to stretch it as long as they could, hoping the jittery defense would jump off sides and they'd get the first down automatically with the offside.
The center, Bart Oates, is the key on this. He has to fire out and get movement on the nose tackle. The quarterback's in behind him on the quarterback sneak.
You heard the roar.
First down. That is what you call a gutty call. That takes a great deal of courage for a coach to do that in this situation. You got to admire Bill Parcells when it works.
When it works. It's ulcer time when it doesn't work.
Well, the offensive coordinator, Ron Earhart, was at the Patriots, and he was very conservative then. That's an amazing play for him.
They have not been conservative, though, throughout the season on their kicking game. They, of course, rely greatly on that defense. First down and 10, and Sims is back. Sims, Morris, and Sims, who started to run after he could not find a deep receiver, pulled up and hits Morris, and he's up close to another first down, and indeed he gets it. Well, the little man starting to impact on this game. Mecklenburg will again pressure on Phil Simms. Mecklenburg all over the football field, as he has been for the Broncos for the past 2 years. First down, Giants. The ball at the 40-yard line of the Denver Broncos. Play action by the Giants. Simms has a receiver wide open, and he goes to Roussan out of the backfield. Roussan inside the 20-yard line, and Simms is right on target. 22-yard pickup.
The fake of the draw holds the linebacker, and this is going to give the receiver time to get down the field. Number 22, Lee Roussan, comes out of the backfield. The linebackers are held by the fake of the draw. As you can see, the quarterback going back, fakes the draw, holds the linebackers, gets the completion to the halfback.
Simms is now 15 of 18, 141 yards, 1 touchdown. He has no interceptions. He's getting time to throw the football. He has a good arm. Morris. There would be a lot of backs who would have taken that back inside. Following the block of Carthen, Morris kept it to the outside and got a tough 3 yards out of it.
Dennis Smith, the strong safety, comes flying across the line. Here comes number 44. A good block that enables Morris to come free on the outside. Maurice Carthen on the block.
Inside the 15-yard line, 2nd down and 7. Simms back once again. Broncos on the blitz. Simms cannot find a deep man, checks it off to Carthen, and Carthen taken out of bounds near the 13-yard line. He'll get only a yard and a half on that, as Louis Wright came up quickly from the defensive cornerback.
Seemed like Simms had all day to throw that one. Great protection from that offensive line. Nicknamed the Suburbanites by Bill Parcells.
They are suburbanites. They are kind of anonymous, so to speak. They're like Paul Revere's horse over here. You knew who Paul was, but you didn't know about his horse. We did not bring Paul Revere up, had we?
No,
we're going to
it's
the
a sore
wrong
point.
country. 3rd down and 6. Shotgun to the Giants. Simms again steps back into the pocket. He fires to Bavaro. Touchdown, Giants. And that is the kind of drive the Giants have been generating throughout the 2nd half of the season. Run Morris a little bit. You dink it off to a back. You hit Roussan out of the backfield. You hit Morris on a short one. Then you find Bavaro for the big one. And that's exactly what they did on that drive.
This makes the 4th down gamble all the more meaningful right now when you capitalize on it by scoring the touchdown. But here's the tight end now, number 89. Good protection by the line. He gets free, the big target again. Simms puts it on the money.
Turn Dennis Smith, the strong safety for the Broncos, completely around, was able to break it clear. Simms was right on the target. Flags are flying. The Broncos appear to be offsides, and we'll set up and go at it once again. Lawrence Taylor coming offsides for the Giants, or to meet a Denver Bronco would come offsides. Again, our official, Jerry Mark Wright. I know Bill Parcells has to be happy with that drive on the part of the Giants. And again, as Don touched on it, that 4th down and a yard to go, a little less than a yard right at midfield, that was the difference. Those teams, without the defensive unit the Giants have, would have been forced to go for that. But when you have the kind of defense they have, you know, even if you don't make it, you have a good chance of your defense turning them back. Raul Alegre for the conversion, the Giants having taken the lead. Alegre for the 1-point conversion. And Danny Reeves and Denver Broncos have fallen behind 16-10. A little more than 5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Here's the replay of the touchdown.
Out of time to throw. It gives their big tight end, Mark Bavaro, time to get open against Dennis Smith.
Bavaro puts it on the scoreboard for the Giants. We'll be back with more action in a moment.
Definitely brought on by that tremendous call by Bill Parcells on 4th and 1, a real gutsy call. He made the same call against Minnesota earlier on in the season in the 11th game. Made a 4th down call, and 4th down and 17, in fact, which turned their season. He says it's the biggest play for the Giants this year against Minnesota. They eventually won 22-20 in the 11th game of the season, and here he is again calling a gutsy play on 4th down. that's changed this game.
4th and 17 is a little different than 4th and about a yard, though. This I thought was a good percentage gamble, but 4th and 17, you know, that's where you got to have hope from up above.
Sims 17 of 20, 155 yards for 2 touchdowns. Bavaro now has caught 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games. Allegre set to kick off for the Giants. A little disturbance down on the football field. They're trying to get things righted for us. And while they get things operational, once again, they could be talking about the scoreboard clock. I'm just not quite sure. And it'll give us an opportunity to go back and show you a little chalkboard explanation and show you how the inside circle is Bavaro. The motion man moves along the line of scrimmage, and watch Bavaro. He will get one-on-one with the defensive back, and that is Dennis Smith, number 49. Now watch Bavaro. He'll fake it to the outside, break it to the inside. Smith can't stay with him. Sims is right on target. Touchdown, Giants. Giants leading 16-10. Now we're set to go. Allegre kicks off. Carrying it deep into the end zone, out of the end zone for Allegre.
But Allegre looks like he's limping. He kicked the ball out the end zone, a tremendous kick, but it looks like he's limping a little bit. Maybe pulled a muscle.
Flag is down up where the Giants kicked off. They could be offside, and a good effort by Allegre to get it out of the end zone and cause the touchback, which is a lot better than have them run it back for you. But that means that the Giants will have to kick again, and I think Allegre might have pulled a muscle. He is down at the 40-yard line of the Giants, trying to stretch something out. There he is right there. And it could be he limped off the field. Now, he could have pulled a muscle on that effort.
I thought after he kicked the extra point that he was limping as he came off the field, and I wanted John to check him out, and you noticed the limp, John.
This is it. There he is right there. You could see it. That was after the extra point.
Yeah, he did it right there.
And it looked as though maybe it wasn't a muscle. It could have looked like it hurt his knee even.
This is also a killer penalty. The people on the kickoff team just hate to run down that second time. He put the first one out with a great effort. Now they have to do it again from their own 35-yard line.
And Allegre's hurting, Doug. I don't think there's any question about it. I know this is the last game of the season either way.
Should be kicking from the 30, right?
Well, there must have been a penalty
penalty
on the last play that gave the ball on the 40.
Yeah. So that moved him back. Okay.
Allegre once again, this time very short. Actually not bad considering he's sticking with a bad leg. Gene Lang brings it out. And Lang hit at the 13-yard line, struggles out to about the 14, where it'll be first down Denver. Tom Flynn hustling down there to make the stop. John Elway comes out. Let's take a look at his effectiveness in the first half. His effectiveness, as much as anything, is his threat always to run. Always to make something happen. He never passes for high percentage, usually around 50%. But that's because he is often throwing it away when he avoids the sack. He'll take the chance, and he is a great offensive weapon. Elway with the play action tries to bring it back inside, and that ball was deflected, could have been picked off. Intended for Vance Johnson, but it was deflected right at the line of scrimmage.
Defensive linemen and linebackers got penetration, got their hands up.
You coach this, don't you, Don?
Right. Here's the fake pitch, hoping to free up his receiver. There's a defensive lineman, gets his hands up, and number 75, George Martin, gets the tip.
Second down and 10, Denver, near their own 15-yard line. Here comes Lawrence Taylor, bottom of your screen. Pressure on Elway, but he gets it off, and one-handing it is Vance Johnson. Spectacular play, but he only picks up about 3 yards on it. George Martin was in there for the Giants, along with Harry Carson. He was on the defense. And this is Vance Johnson, who hurt his knee earlier in the year, the very first game of the season.
Here's a reverse angle shot of it. Great one-handed catch by Van Johnson, leaving his feet, going up in the air. Let's see if we can see where he gets hurt here. The tackler, Harry Carson, comes in late. It appears that Vance Johnson might have gotten hit in the back.
Now he's up and leaving the field. He's far short of the first down. The Denver Broncos have a 3rd down and 6 at their own 19-yard line. That'll be the situation when we return. California, the site of the 21st Super Bowl, the beautiful San Gabriel Mountains. One of the few places in the world where you can water surf and ski on the very same day. And we have 9:34 remaining in the third quarter of the 21st Super Bowl. The Broncos trailing the New York Giants 16-10. Capacity crowd of over 104,000 people. A few moments ago, Harry Carson came in with what we would call a rather late hit on Vance Johnson. Right there, Johnson limped off the football field. Danny Reeves visibly upset. There was no penalty flag drop, and the Broncos, as we begin play once again, have a 3rd down and 6, the ball near their own 19-yard line. Denver has converted out of a 3rd down 5 of 9 times. Elway tries to squeeze it in to Willite out of the backfield. He was well covered, and that will bring up 4th down, and the Giants fans applaud their heroes.
Good pressure by Lawrence Taylor coming from the outside. Elway steps up. He doesn't have room, throws it into the dirt.
Mike Horan comes out to do the punting.
They're having to rely on Elway now because it looks like the Giants have shut down effectively the running game for the Broncos.
And the Broncos are confronted with their first punting opportunity. Mike Horan comes on.
Elway is the running game and the passing game.
The offense.
They got to get something going with somebody else. So somebody's got to help Elway.
Broncos able to move it in the early part of the game. The Giants slowly but surely shut it down. Left-footed kicker Horan puts it up in the air. Phil McConkey settles in at the 39-yard line of the Giants. Finds an opening to the outside and turns it on. And McConkey to the 37-yard line of Denver. And what a story this young man is. He was released by the Giants earlier in the year. He was cut, turned loose. He went up and played a couple of games with Green Bay. The Giants had a series of injuries to their wide receivers. They needed one. They traded a draft pick to get him back. Here he is once again. He
Watch
spots
the wall
quickly.
for him now. He starts up, moves to his right, good blocking, picks up the wall, tries to hurdle a tackler, 25-yard return on a 42-yard punt.
He's really the spirit of this team. He's the cheerleader. He's one of the leaders on the special teams.
36-yard line of the Denver Broncos. The Giants have a chance to extend their lead. Joe Morris. And Morris cuts back inside, gets inside the 30-yard line. Gain of almost 7 yards. Giants now finding they can do just about what they want now. They're beginning to run the ball, and they have already proven they can throw the ball. Phil Simms having a big day, and when you start to do that, you begin to question everything you do defensively, don't you?
Right, this is a little misdirection here. It starts out to their left. Joe Morris pivots back around, picks up the block of the pulling guard, gets in there behind it. They can get the running going now to complement Phil Simms' passing. Control the ball. That's Morris on the running play.
Off the right side once again, right back to the line of scrimmage. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 3. And there was a loss actually of about a yard. And the Giants defense is being talked to on the sideline once again. They have been very effective thus far in shutting down the Denver offense. Very effective from about the midpoint of the second quarter. 3rd down and 4 now. Almost 5 as Morris has dropped back at the 31-yard line.
Simms under center. You'd think he'd be back in the shotgun, but he's up under center.
Morris gets the first down inside the 25 and goes forward to the 22-yard line. Another surprising call, I would say, Don.
It was. Denver was expecting to pass. They had their extra defensive backs in the ballgame. This play was designed to go against the nickel defense or the extra defensive backs. Big hole. Morris is in behind it.
Good block by Carl Nelson out in front of Joe Morris. He had pulled from the opposite tackle side to lead the play. They had pulled actually both guards and Nelson, just a student body right. And very effective. The Giants getting the first down. They're at the 22-yard line of the Broncos. Rusan might have got a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Giants offense is pretty much predicated on Joe Morris when you're talking the ground game. Every now and then they give him a breather with Carthen running the ball or Rusan. But Joe Morris is their main man.
The only time they take him out is when he does need the breather from being successful. So they've got a good runner to come in there and take up the slack.
Morris, a tough 58 yards thus far today, 13 carries. Sims back on 2nd and 9. Open receiver, and he fires. It's complete. Lionel Manuel, who just returned from an knee injury for the playoff competition. He is very close to another first down.
Manuel coming in motion. Louis Wright comes with him. He hooks up in the open spot in the zone. Wright stays there and makes the tackle.
John, games have a way of momentum. As we bring out the sticks, you've been in many of them. Don's been in many of them. I've been in many of them. This one is beginning to shift to the Giants. You can sense it. You can feel it.
You can. Phil Simms is really playing well, and he's matured as a quarterback. And the offense is just very confident. They can move the ball on the ground. They can move the ball in the air. They're doing what they want right now against this really good Denver defense.
Phil is 18 of 21, 164 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And as you saw, the Giants pick up the first down near the 12-yard line. Lionel Manuel, as I mentioned, back in action after missing much of the season with a bad knee injury.
Carthen, the ball
to the 10-yard line, a tough 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Carthen is really known as the blocking back for Morris, but he played in the USFL and was very successful there as a runner in his own right. But Morris really relies on him as the lead blocker.
Back in 1983, when he was the lead blocker for Herschel Walker. Walker was injured that season, and Carthen was a 1,000-yard rusher for the New Jersey General, so he can run the football. But if you got a Morris in there, you want to give it to him.
Could be looking for the big tight end here.
That, of course, would be Bavaro. Sims under pressure, but an open field in front of him. Down to the 5-yard line, and he's buried there. Hit hard by Ricky Huntley and Ken Woodard. Short of a first down. He wanted to throw it down. Got the pressure.
Like he was looking for the flanker coming in motion, or else the big tight end, Bavaro. When he sees that nobody's open, he tucks it. The quickness of the Denver linebackers converging.
And held short of the first down by about 3 yards. The Giants want timeout. They have called a timeout. Phil Simms has moved over to the sidelines, and he's kind of squinting himself. I don't know whether he just was not sure of his personnel out there. They were set to go, and all of a sudden Phil Simms stepped out of the huddle and called timeout. And again, you take one off the scoreboard clock, one that you may be able to use, or you might wish you had later in the game.
Well, Simms is a real tough quarterback. There's only one other quarterback, and he plays for you, Don, that has played more consecutive games, 48 games this season, regular season that he's played in, and Marino is the only one that's...
Dan Marino has been amazing. For 4 years, he has not missed many snaps, and he lines up and takes the snaps and keeps bouncing up, and he doesn't run as much as some of the other quarterbacks, so he really doesn't expose himself like an Elway or like Phil Simms did in that situation.
You got to look at Mark Bavaro. A couple of things to speculate on, and maybe you could have a word on this, Don. We saw Allegre, the field goal kicker of the Giants, go off earlier, limping. He was able to kick off after that twice. Could be a question. That could tighten up. It looked like it might have been a muscle pull. If they do not pick up the first down on a 3rd down and long 3 situation, they get themselves into a 4th and 1 or something like that. Well, you got to wonder whether they'll come out with the field goal unit or go on 4th down.
It could be a gamble situation, especially this early in the ball game. I know that they don't want to come out of this with 3 points. They want 7. I think Simms was smart in taking the timeout after the scramble to get his breath, to talk to the coaches, to determine what play they want called in this situation.
And this is the result of that discussion. 3rd down, a long 3 for the first down, 5 yards for the touchdown. Morris held short of the first down by about 1.5 yards, and now it will be decision time. Do you take almost a sure 3 if your kicker's healthy, or do you go on 4th down?
They're going for the field goal, but that was the same play that worked for them before on a 3rd down situation. They thought that they could catch Denver off guard twice in a row, but Jim Ryan was there to make the play. You don't fool a good defense 2 times in a row.
Almost a sure 3 points if your field goal kicker is healthy, and he appears to be all right. Raul Alegre.
He can kick a field goal even with a pulled muscle. Up to about 35 yards, he can swing through it and make it go, kicking soccer style. So he should be able to make this one. It's a chip shot for a kicker.
21-yard attempt. Alegre to the uprights, appeared perfectly healthy on that one, so there was no question as to what the Giants would do. And with 3:54 remaining in the third quarter, the Giants have extended their lead to 19-10.
Well, Allegre's been the story for him this year. They were really hurting last year in field goals.
I'm quite proud of the fact that we've been able to export the game, a game that was very small when Don Chula and I arrived on the scene way back in 1952. We had crowds of 18,000, 19,000 at the Polo Grounds.
I think my first contract was $5,000, and now the free agents get that as a bonus.
Per minute.
That's right, they got that for a bonus for a tackle on a kickoff, Don.
Allegre puts it in play for the Giants, taking it and bobbling it in the end zone is Gene Lang. That'll bring about the touchback, and the Broncos, who have been struggling offensively midway in the second quarter until now, will take over at the 20-yard line. The Giants' defense has almost been like somebody is taking a screwdriver and tightening it down throughout this game. They have been much more effective.
It's important that Elway gets something going with the Denver offense on this drive here, because, as you mentioned earlier, the momentum appears to be shifting.
But he is the one to get it going. The Giants defense know that. They know that John Elway, he is the lifeblood of this offensive unit.
Too tight end.
That's what Elway does well. Gets away from Taylor, fires downfield, incomplete. That was Carl Banks on the blitz.
That had to be a mistake there. Nobody blocked the outside linebacker as he blitzed, and there's always somebody that has to be assigned to him. It was either the tackle that had to shift out or the guard stepping back and picking up number 58, Carl Banks, but he came through without anybody blocking him.
Just to explain what a blitz is, it's when an extra defensive lineman comes through to put pressure on the quarterback. Usually 5 will put a rush on that quarterback to flush him out of the pocket or make him throw the ball quicker or erratically.
Usually a linebacker, and you usually try to rush more men than they have men to block.
Well, second down, and Elway's in the shotgun.
2nd and 10, the Giants bring their linebackers once again, forcing Elway to go with the screen, which he had called. I thought he was trying to dump it off, but that was a set play. That was a screen, a good time to have it called. When you get the pass pressure, and those are the plays being signaled in to John Elway. When you get the pass pressure and you have a screen on, you have an opportunity to pick up good yardage and sometimes even break it all the way. 3rd down and 2 now. Denver's that type of football team. They have been a comeback football team all season long.
Shotgun again on 3rd down and 2.
Elway appears to be audibilizing, changing the play that he had called in the huddle. This time a lot of time, tried to whip it out into the flat. Good coverage there by Carl Banks against Orson Mobley. Fourth down. We'll look at it again.
They're trying to get the interference call here. You can see number 89, Mobley. Banks has got him all the way. Mobley feels. I think it's a good play by the defensive man. He makes an effort to get to the football, and when you do that, you're not going to get called for pass interference.
Not a bad play by the official also.
Carl Banks, he's a lot of people think he's as good a quarterback as Lawrence Taylor. He's great against the run as well as the pass.
Good receiver will often use those officials out there. Mike Horan on to punt for the Broncos. With the left-footed kicker. Tags this one pretty well. And McConkey has to settle for the fair catch out of the 32-yard line. So the Giants, who have things going pretty much their way, they lead 19-10 with 2:38 remaining here in the third quarter, bring out their offensive unit.
That was a good punt there. It was 41 yards, but the important thing was that it stayed up in the air and it enabled the coverage to get down underneath.
We'll be returning to the Rose Bowl in just a moment. Acting to it throughout the course of the game. Prior to the game, and people were here almost at sunup on a beautiful day with the temperature around 75 degrees here in California. They were picnicking in the parking lots that surround this area, and they'll be here to about midnight because there is a very difficult flow of traffic into this area. and there are over 100,000 people here. Looking over the numbers for John Elway for the game, 15 of 26, 199 yards. As we look at Super Bowl's largest crowd, it was right here at the Rose Bowl. They did not get what they anticipated today. But there are a lot of folks, and they are from all around the world. Indeed, as we showed you at the very beginning of the game, there were some from Great Britain as well. First down and 10, the Giants from their own 32-yard line. This is Joe Morris over the right side, and Morris hit right at the line of scrimmage. Might have squeaked a little out of that. Ricky Hunley was there defensively for the Broncos.
Ricky Hunley is a good story. Last year he led the team in special teams tackles, and this year he led the team on defense in tackles. A very ferocious tackler.
That's a play that the Giants count on. When nothing else works, that play works. And Joe Morris has made a lot of yards on it. Denver stopped at that time.
Second down and 8. The Broncos bring a linebacker. Phil Simms reads it, goes to Manuel, and a good read by Phil Simms. Knew he'd have the single coverage, which you usually get when you bring the linebacker, and he was right there.
Here it is right here, the pass rush. And they're able to get the ball off in the area that the linebacker vacates when he tries to put pressure on the quarterback.
Sam's second touchdown, 2 touchdown passes. Elway, 212 total yards. You know, Elway had 386 yards in the first Giants game, and he did not throw a touchdown pass in that game. First down and 10, right at midfield for the Giants. They're just inside Bronco territory. Morris again. Stays on his feet, works his way down to about the 46-yard line of the Broncos. Good block by Chris Godfrey out in front of Morris.
That same misdirection play, it starts out like a slant to the left, and then Joe Morris spins back around. Chris Godfrey pulls and gets in front.
Warm day. Natural turf here. Football players playing like they should really on grass, getting a little dirty, sweating it up a little bit. A lot of tension, so much at stake. $36,000 to the winner, to the winning player, each winning player, $18,000 to the losing player. Flea flicker play. Morris back to Simms, has a man open, doesn't see him in time, and goes back to McConkey underneath. McConkey hit, tries to hurdle into the end zone and gets to the 2-yard line. Mark Haynes hit McConkey, and Simms had a man open for the touchdown, but he was reading McConkey all the way. That's what we call a flea flicker here in the United States. I don't know how it got its name. Don Shula's very familiar with it, however.
You have to pick the right time for a play like this. It's handed off. It looks like a running play. The back then laterals back. The defensive backfield has a tendency to relax. The Giant receiver gets in behind him, Phil McConkey. You get the big play when it's least expected. Another great call by the Giant coaching staff.
And aren't they glad they got McConkey back from Green Bay? They had cut him earlier in the year, had to trade him to get him back, and now they have a first down goal to go. Morris, a sprint into the end zone. And the Giants have it in the right gear offensively. Everything now that the attempt seems to be working.
Always a good idea to give it to Joe Morris. Chris Godfrey pulls out and puts a great block on the safety man from Denver as he comes up. Parcells is happy. Great drive by the Giants.
Good Bill Parcells, and he looks like he hasn't been missing a lot of meals, Don.
No, his nickname in New England when he was an assistant coach of the linebackers was Tuna. He was well liked in New England.
They could have called him Pasta, I think.
Tell you, he's going to be well liked in New York if he isn't already.
Allegre, good on the conversion in the Giants lead 26-10. Let's take a look at it again. I think it was designed to go a little off tackle. Morris reads it all the way to the outside.
Godfrey out in front of it, throws the key block, and Morris just walks in. It looks easy.
Giants now taking command of this game, certainly offensively. McConkey coming up with a 44-yard completion from Phil Simms, who is having a fine day. Couldn't be much better. 20 of 23, 226 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Really came of age, I think, Don, and you touched on it, in last year's Pro Bowl. And he came out with a deficit and was really the MVP of that game.
I coached the other team, and we had a 24-7 halftime lead. Phil Simms brought the NFC All-Stars back with pinpoint passing, great leadership ability. I think that gave him a lot of confidence that he could win against the best that there is.
Then again, earlier this season in a game against the San Francisco 49ers, we're having a little breakup on our monitor. We hope you can see our picture. Now we're back as Allegri kicks off. But Phil Simms was down 17-0 in the 49ers on a regular season game. The 49ers have shut down the Giants' running game, and Phil Simms came out in the second half and led the Giants to a upset victory from a 17-point deficit. And that seemed to turn this team from a good team into a great football team.
It did. It seemed to give confidence to the offense and gave them confidence not only in the passing game, but it even helped the running game even more.
19 seconds remain in the third quarter, and if you were coaching, Don, you would think you'd have to get something going right about now, or this thing could be history on you very quickly.
But it's important that you don't panic in this situation because they still have time to win the football game.
Blitz on Elway. Drops the football. It bounces right back into his hands, but he is going to go down in the arms of Marshall. Pressure came from George Martin. Elway got away from that, dropped the football, was able to pick it up, but he was taken by Leonard Marshall, and the loss is all the way back inside the 10-yard line.
When he stepped up into the pocket, Martin got his hand in there and knocked the ball loose. You can see Martin coming from the outside. Elway steps up like he should. There's his hand knocking the ball loose. A big play by Martin. And then Marshall is there for the sack.
And the sack all the way back to the 9-yard line. A loss of 11 yards on that. Taylor's reaction to the play. He is a very emotional player, not only a great football player, but this might be overdoing it just a little bit.
The Giants smell blood right now.
They do. They have this thing at the moment well in hand, but there are 15 minutes remaining, and if it was another football team, you might say, forget it, write it off, check out. But the Denver Broncos have a history of coming from behind. Whether or not they can come from 16 points back is highly speculated, but they have done it in times past. John Elway is noted for that, and he certainly has the opportunity because the Giants have dominated, and now they are beginning to show that domination on defense.
Trying to analyze the one-sided games in recent years, I think that the team that gets behind tends to overreact. They panic. They don't take their time to try to get back into the ball game. Denver can't let that happen to them right now. That last play hurt them, but they still have time to get back and do some things to try to make this game close with a possibility of winning. But if they panic right now, it's all over.
There are 2 touchdowns and a field goal back, and that seems like an awful lot against the Giants defense that now is really starting to assert itself.
It does. That third quarter was really disastrous for Denver. They had gained 1 yard on offense, and the Giants had 163 yards. I mean, that's pretty dominating for the Giants on offense.
The Giant defense now, too, knows that they've got Denver doing things that they are not accustomed to doing, and they're going to just try to force errors.
Now what do you do, Don? You're looking over 2nd down and 21, and your call the plays I know for Dan Marino and the Dolphins. What do? You go over and get a drink of water and ignore it, let him call his own?
This is when you try to avoid his stare. Seriously, it's just a tough situation right here. And what you try to do is to try to maybe get half of it back on this play and then get enough for the first down on the next play and get your drive going.
But again, as you mentioned earlier, don't hurt yourself. Don't get the turnover. One more touchdown, and they would be thoroughly out of it if they gave it up very quickly down here. So don't hurt yourself. Denver. Patterson up near midfield. Patterson makes the interception for the Giants. We missed the play while we were away. Nothing happened on that one, but as we came back, Elway trying to get out from his own end zone, fired upfield. It was picked off by Elvis Patterson, intended for Steve Watson. Patterson returned it to the 33-yard line, and he was tackled there, and a flag came in after the play was over.
This is what I was afraid would happen, the thing that we had just talked about, that you really have to keep your poise. You can't throw the ball up, let the Giants make the play, try to get half of it back. The penalty helps Denver there because it's against the Giants. So,
you know, Don, actually, if they'd had the incompletion, they would have had to bring the punting team out, and they're probably going to do better than they would have if they had to punt, because their punting game is not so good.
The penalty hurt the fact that it was intercepted.
There is the full play that we joined late in progress. The pass and tip to Steve Watson, picked off by Patterson. The illegal use of hands against the Giants pushes the Giants back to close to their own 48-yard line, where they have a first down and 10.
Sims at quarterback.
Morris, and down goes Morris, hit there by Rulon Jones. Right at the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look at Jones in isolation.
Rulon plays the blocker, sees the play, and makes the one-on-one tackle on Joe Morris.
Now, if you're going the other way, Don, what are you thinking as a coach? Now, let's don't hurt ourselves either, right?
You're thinking that we need a drive, we got to score the touchdown, and it's going to put the game out of reach. So you want to play good, sound, basic football with the idea of making sure that you come up with points.
Sims steps back into the pocket, and wide open is Robinson. Stacey Robinson inside the 20-yard line. And Phil Sims with a lot of cool, with a lot of composure, with Broncos all around him, stepped back into the pocket and found a wide open Stacey Robinson.
Sims made that play because he looked to his right, he kept looking to his right, and then he knows that the receiver is over on the left side. Right there he goes, he sees the receiver open, goes to him, and it's too late for Foley to get over there to make the play on the ball.
The Giants have scored on all 3 possessions this half. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, and now they're within striking distance again.
They mark it just outside the 16-yard line of the Broncos. First down once again. Sims with the hot hand. Morris following Carthen. Breaks one tackle, but then he's hammered by Ricky Hunley. Carthen, the lead blocker on it. Mecklenburg again in on the play defensively.
Mecklenburg does a good job of seeing the play, beating the blocker, and making the tackle. The Giants are trying to establish the run, to run some time off the clock, and put the points on the board.
Sims is 21 of 24, 261 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and if perhaps they were not looking to work on the clock, and we still might see it, this is where they love to go to their tight end, Bavaro. Sims back, looks to the outside. The pass intended for Bavaro, well covered by Louis Wright.
No question, the interference on this.
No question.
Louis Wright lets Bavaro get in there behind him, and then he bumps into the receiver without looking to play the ball, and that's, the flag is down, it's interference all the way. 1-yard line.
And of course, when you get that pass interference in the end zone, they bring the ball to the 1-yard line, so it's almost as good as the completion.
See how bad Louis Wright is beat.
Oh, was he?
He makes no effort to see the ball. He just, that is pass interference. There's no, you don't have to replay that one, Frank.
Now that is pass interference.
The receiver has to be given the opportunity to catch that ball, and he wasn't in that one.
He wasn't given the opportunity to survive. First down, goal to go, 1-yard line. Morris fights and scrambles back to the line of scrimmage. Louis Wright and Ricky Hunley there defensively for Denver. Ricky Hunley played his collegiate football in nearby Arizona. Was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals 4 years ago. Refused to report. Didn't want to play there as we look at the offensive yardage, and John Smith alluded to that a few moments ago. Totally dominant here in the second half of the Giants. Ricky Hunley would not play for Cincinnati. They traded him for a couple of first-round draft picks to the Broncos. He became a starter last year, and he is very definitely one of the 5 defensive linebackers in the league today. And this is very definitely one of the big hearts in this game. Joe Morris, smallish running back. Sims in trouble, and he's sacked back at the 8-yard line. Freddie Gilbert, first-year man out of Georgia. Number 90 was there defensively for Denver.
Well, that was an unusual play because 70% of the time inside the 10 this year, the Giants have run the ball, and Joe Morris has been usually the person that runs it.
Well, I think they'd like the call back. I think that they wish that they would have run with that football as opposed to trying the play action type of pass to try to catch Denver off guard. Denver was awake for it, and it backfired on the Giants. It was a very, very costly error on the part of the Giants.
They'll bring up third down now. Third down and goal to go. Looking at the action that caused a little rhubarb that we watched a moment ago. A couple of players getting into it. Bart Oates in there tangled up with one of the Broncos. Meanwhile, back to live action. Third down, goal to go, and Phil Simms will come from the shotgun. Broncos bring the full blitz. Simms reads it, fires into the end zone. And coming down with the ball is McConkey, who's having himself a great Super Bowl.
That's when things go right. The ball was
away
intended
from
for Bavaro. It came off of his hands. McConkey was there. The rule was changed 4 or 5 years ago where 2 offensive receivers could touch the football, and it's ruled a completed pass.
Bill McConkey, the former helicopter pilot in the Navy, who was with the Giants a couple of years. I mentioned it earlier. They cut him earlier in the season. They brought him back when a couple of their receivers were injured. He has been their chief return man. He's been a clutch man on receptions, and he has been a real spirit of this football team. Offside flag goes down. Allegre puts it through the uprights, but the flag is down. Phil Simms, the reaction right after he had fired that strike. Well, I guess this is prior to it.
I think he was upset because the tight end dropped it.
Here's Bavaro.
And now the trail receiver, McConkey, comes up with the ball in the end zone. That's when things are going well for you.
Why does it always seem that way? Or it doesn't seem that way. It just happens that way, doesn't it? It goes right
in a game like this. There's so many things that determine momentum, and the Giants have got it.
Here's the reaction of Bill Parcells. Nothing to it. That's the way we drew it on the board.
With that extra point, the Giants have scored 26 unanswered points. They're really on a roll right now. It's surprising me that the Denver defense gave up that touchdown there. They usually pride themselves on their goal line or short yardage defense done.
Well, they made the big play on second down, but then on third down, it backfires on them.
21, the Giants are leading the Broncos 33-10. Phil Simms has been so hot at quarterback for the Giants. He's 22 of 25, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is a passing percentage of 88% completions. The Super Bowl record is held by Ken Anderson of the Bengals, the Super Bowl following the 81 season when the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the 49ers. Anderson was 25 of 34 for 73%. So Phil Simms is looking at a possible Super Bowl record for percentage of completions.
Giants have had the ball 4 times in the second half. They have 4 scores. Denver's had the ball 3 times. They were 3 and out 3 times.
Allegre hits it, and this is what happens when you start to lose. Bad scramble for the football. At just about the 17-yard line. And the Broncos appear to have regained possession. Phil Simms, much maligned for many years in New York.
Here's the touchdown. They're looking for the big tight end, Bavaro. McConkey is in a trail position where he is going to come in after Bavaro clears. Simms goes to Bavaro with the ball. He can't hang on to it. McConkey gets the tip.
You know, they were both open. Isn't that something? When it starts to go right, it's self-generating in this game of football.
Now we're going to see Elway move around a little bit.
They're playing catch-up now. Elway with the strong iron, fires to the outside, gets the completion. He goes out to Vance Johnson. And Johnson up beyond the first down marker. Here's Phil Simms a few moments ago. This is the replay we thought we had earlier, celebrating that touchdown.
No starter in the league this year has won as many games. 14 games up until this game he'd won.
Well, that's the regular season. Picked up 2 more in the playoffs, so he's looking for a string of what? They've won 11 in a row. This will be 12 in a row for them, and this would be a 16th victory for the season. First and 10. You'll see some fun, however, with John Elway at this point. Will Height out over the 30-yard line.
It's a screen type of pass to
They'll use this play every now and then to keep the defense honest because the Giants know they have to pass, so you have to give them a little gimmick every now and then to keep them from just running right over your offensive line.
They're dropping deep, and they see the screen now develop. Banks gets up into the middle of it and makes a good play.
Gain of 4. It'll be second down and a long 5. Elway doing what he does best, scrambling out of the pocket, firing upfield, finding Mark Jackson. Jackson will have a Denver Bronco first down. He's out over the 45-yard line.
Jackson's been their big play receiver this year. A lot of receptions over 40 yards.
The big play in the game 2 weeks ago against Cleveland. Jackson made it on 3rd down and 18, and Elway drilled him for 20 yards. That got him into this game.
That's the time remaining in the game and the time remaining for the Denver Bronco hopes. First down, Elway fires again. Hits Wilhite out of the backfield, up at midfield. Gain of about 5. Danny Reeve now signaling the instructions to his pupil, and he remains at John Elway. He's going to get better, one would suspect, Don, over the years.
Right, they're going without a huddle. They know they have a lot of points to pick up in only a short period of time. So they're going to their no-huddle offense.
Now it works for Denver. Fly comes down, but it is Jackson on the deflection who comes down with the football, and let's see who the penalty is against. Jerry Mark Wright, the referee, as we look at a replay while they sort it out.
Well, Denver deserve a break. They're going to have one go their way here.
That's about the first one they've had. But I have found in watching this game and playing it for so many years, they usually get the breaks when you're making them. Again, the replay. Patterson up there defensively.
The receiver is pushed out of bounds. That means that he can't come back in and catch the football.
And this they allow.
It's because it was a tip ball. The fact that the ball was tipped makes the receiver then eligible to come back in. Otherwise, if the ball would have been thrown to him, he would have been ineligible.
Glad you're here. Member of the competition committee of the NFL. I didn't know that. First down and 10. Sewell over the left side, and Sewell breaks it for first down yardage inside the 30, taken out of bounds near the 27-yard line. Fine offensive back that can do most anything you want him to do.
It's very versatile. And that was a counter play. Went back the other way, and some good yardage by Sewell.
Denver moving down the field. They'll need to get one rather quickly. They trail 33-10. 8:45 remaining in the game. Their hopes are rather slim, but nevertheless, when you have a gun like John Elway, you stay in there, you go with the best of it. You get a quick touchdown, you get a turnover, you get another one, all of a sudden you're thinking big once again. Not likely to happen, but it could happen. Wilhite on a play designed just to keep things honest defensively.
The problem is that it uses up time, and Denver does not have time.
So I don't believe they'll go from a huddle. They do not. They come right out, line up at the line of scrimmage. John Elway kind of looks like a fire drill down there, but they know what they are trying to do. They're very well coordinated. The numbers of the plays called out right at the line of scrimmage.
This is something that they practice because they know that sooner or later they're going to get down to this situation where you have to be able to communicate without going to the huddle.
In and out of the hands of Clarence Kay. It's incomplete, and of course on a pass incompletion the clock is stopped. So it behaves you when that clock is moving to come back with the pass play after you run the ball on the ground. You can use up a lot of seconds very quickly.
Bill Parcells. It didn't all go easy for Bill. The first year he came with the Giants, it was 3-12-1.
He's turned that around. Third down, Elway from the shotgun. He has the first down. He's inside the 15-yard line.
Again, it uses up. The clock continues to run. They get the first down, but they're going to have to get the ball into the end zone.
And I would be surprised if they huddle, but this time they do go back into the huddle. They'll be out of it very quickly. Clock continuing to tick away. We're inside 8 minutes. $36,000 to each winning player, $18,000 to each losing player. Elway, inside handoff, hands it off to Sewell, and Banks from his linebacking position on the left side makes a superb play, and Sewell has dropped back close to the 20-yard line. You'd like to have him, wouldn't you, Don?
He can do a lot of things. Here the Giants are waiting for this. It's another situation where they're running with the ball. The clock continues to run. They can't afford to let the clock run when they're down by 23 points.
It used to be Lawrence Taylor that you were so totally absorbed with when you consider the Giants defense, but now you have a 58 in there, Carl Banks. He's been playing great football over the past few weeks. Denver second down and 15 near the 20-yard line of the Giants. Elway in trouble. Gets out of trouble. Elway doing his thing, stopping the clock at 6:47 as he steps out of bounds near the 12-yard line.
Shows you a little bit about his strength. He stiff arms a defensive back, number 34, Elvis Patterson, runs right over him and out of bounds.
And Patterson is injured.
Patterson is down. The quarterback hurts the defensive back. That's news.
Elway is a lot bigger than he looks. 6'3", a 210-pounder, and he is strong, very powerful. And they continue to look at the Giants cornerback, Elvis Patterson. Meanwhile, that's the time remaining. And this is the face of American professional football. The player's done the work, and the coach who is about to share in the glory of Phil McClung. Back at the Rose Bowl, and it is dark here in Pasadena, California, as we have 6:47 remaining in the football game, the 21st Super Bowl. The Giants in total command over the Denver Broncos. They lead 33-10. Broncos trying to get respectable. They have a third down and 8 yards to go for a first down, and they have the football at the Giants' 12-yard line. But they've been here before. At one point, they had a first down and goal to go. That might have made a major difference earlier in the game. The Giants held them then, forced them into a field goal situation in which Carlos missed from 24 yards.